Hi everyone, this is Niharika from Your Legal Career Coach. We are a mentorship platform for law students, and in our YouTube channel, you'll find interviews with students and industry professionals to make your journey easier. Today, we have with us Siddharth Goswami. Siddharth pursued his BA degree from Jindal Global Law School in 2022. He worked as a judicial law clerk at the Supreme Court for a year and then went on to pursue his Masters of Laws degree from the University of California, Los Angeles School of Law. He is currently working as an associate at Vashishtha Law Offices. Welcome, Siddharth. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Niharika. I'm really glad that we are able to have this interview today, and I'm just looking forward to helping as many students out through this.
Right. So, diving straight into the questions, you opted to pursue your master's after a year of getting experience at the Supreme Court. And then, after you pursued your master's, so what was the rationale behind taking that decision? And did you not think of getting some chamber experience maybe before applying for your master's?
So I think education is always very personal. It's always up to you at which point of life that you want to, especially a master's, at which point of life you consider it to be the actual correct moment for you to choose and do it. So for me, I had initially, when I was in law school, I had thought of pursuing it right after law school. But then by my fourth or fifth year, I made a decision to not do that and instead gain some experience. So hence I chose to do the clerkship. And after while I was in the clerkship, I also got a lot of motivation from my peers who were already in the LLM or even people I was working around with. So then I think it kind of led me to just apply at that moment, and I applied to a few universities, and just somehow happened to be that I was like, all right, I think this is at this moment of my life, it is the correct choice to make. And hence that was one of the major reasons of me doing it at that time. Coming to the chamber experience thing, I feel like it would definitely help. See, a master's helps you understand things, dive into things in a deeper manner. So if you already have some kind of a, let's say, work experience in a certain specific field, let's say IPR for an example, if you've already worked in matters related to IPR on trademarks, on copyright, so then you going after a 2 year work experience of working at a chamber and then pursuing this higher degree, it will definitely help you more. So I feel like yes, for the longer run, it's always a bit better to have first worked and gain some practical knowledge and then go and apply that practical knowledge again into the books. So definitely I think I would recommend that.
So, what were the key factors that led you to choose UCLA for your LLM? And did you also receive any other offers?
So so the application, so I only applied to the universities in USA. And the application process is for like, let's say, 2 to 3 months, where you apply from LSAC, which is like the main portal through which you apply to all the law schools in America, the USA. And so I applied to 4 universities. I applied to Cornell, I applied to Berkeley, I applied to NYU, and I applied to the one I went to, that's UCLA. Now, I got admitted into all four of these, but I only chose UCLA because of the scholarship that they provided me, and which really helped make the journey very smooth to in deciding which law school I want to choose, and also the course that the specialization that I wanted to or do. UCLA had a great set of professors for it, and UCLA had a great background for it as well. That was commercial arbitration, and also the kind of, and also in terms of like applying it practically in the city of Los Angeles itself, there's very lot of arbitration based. So I thought that it did not really matter to me. Like, I'm getting offers from so many universities. It's just the scholarship part and also the education that I was anyway receiving from UCLA was very good. So that was my main rationale behind choosing UCLA.
Very. Assuming that you wanted to come back to India since you're here already, why particularly USA? Did you not think of maybe UK, for instance?
So that's a good question, but for me, like I said, it's very personal thing. I just wanted to choose it, just wanted to go to the USA to get an education from there. Maybe in the future I'll opt to go to some other place to just get a short degree or something like that. But at that specific moment of life, I felt like I wanted to go to the US to experience the education from, and like, the US legal lifestyle as well. That was also a very big motivator behind it, because obviously, like, I also had an chance of working over there in the US for a month or two. So
Hmm.
that was also a very nice experience, and that is also something that I wanted to gain an understanding of, as how the US legal market works. So
Yes.
that's why.
You mentioned scholarships. We'll be covering that later. Before that, can you please share the application process at UCLA for international students, and how can one prepare for the same at this point? So maybe for final year students, what would you say?
So, like I said, if you're planning to apply for the US, your main portal through which you apply is the LSAC. Now, when you're applying to these universities, you have to make your statement of purpose. You have to get your LORs in order. I think those are the two major things that are required at your end. And then there's the traditional form that you have to fill out, just details about yourself and other stuff, and the kind of specialization you want to choose. Now, for me, it was a bit difficult to, like, find my time around when to even uh, put in the time to write all these SOPs, because these are just like, you have to put in your, basically, your statement of purpose, like it states. Like, you have to explain to the university why you want to pursue this specific master's from there, and what was your real motivator behind you choosing this university. So it takes time. Basically, it's something that you cannot just draft in one sitting and like be like, okay, I'm done with it. You can't just do that. You have to put in your thoughts. You have to get a lot of people, some more people if you can find, who have already done this, who can also like helping you out with this. So for me, I had a very hectic work schedule as a law clerk also. I was working almost daily for 10 to 11, 12 hours. And then at night, I used to come back home, and for 2 or 2.5 hours, I would used to definitely put in every day, just thinking, because otherwise, on those days when I was not doing it, I was always feeling very stressed about this. So it's just that you have to find your time, and you have to, like, just think about it, like how you have to, because it's like, basically, you're asking the university to select you, so you have to show it to them that what specifically you have in yourself that would cater to the university standards as well. So it's just through that, like, the application process is something like this only. You have to put in your thought into it. You also have to get it checked through all other people around you who you can find, who have already visited these universities, and they can be a factor in. And also, your professors always do help in your LORs. Getting an LOR is also very important. It's important to have an LOR. It can be a make or break factor in your application if you get it from someone who has. And I would always suggest, for an LOR, it's not it should always you should always get it from someone under whom you have worked for some time, and that person also knows you, because it's just not sufficient that you're just getting a big name signature on your LOR. Like, you just found someone who's like very you're well connected with, and you just obtained this LOR. They were grateful to give you that, but that won't help. You need someone who definitely understands you, and they can communicate to the university that how you will be an asset to them, and how you will sit with the memo of the university, like you were paper cut for it. So something like that. So that's another one of my suggestions for the application processes.
Face any challenges even after preparing in advance?
So I definitely face challenges. It was always a lot of, because it's not just when you're applying, you're just applying for this one thing. There are
Right.
other extenuating factors also. Your continuous life is also going through it. See, applying for this is always a very challenging process, but it's also a daily process. You have to sit on it daily and just think about it for some time. No, I'm not even saying that you have to sit 2 to 3 hours every day. Just sit for an hour, put in your thoughts, you make a draft, you make a big draft SOP, and then as per the different universities, you just keep curating it. Like, even for a CV, as a matter of fact, like, you prepare a one full big CV, and when you're applying for jobs, you just trim out the other stuff that is not required for this specific job. So it's like that. You make one big draft template, and then from that draft template, you then curate it further towards the specific university you're applying for. So I think it's just like you have to get that draft done as soon as possible. So then it just makes a job easier. And the LOA is just something that you have to find through your professors or your people who you're working under, your employers, or whoever you feel is the right person to give you that. So that is their job to do. But yes, I think it's always good to have an early start, is what I would say.
Right. What kinds of specializations does UCLA offer?
So UCLA is the most known for its entertainment law because being based in LA itself, it's there's so many media powerhouses which are always there to give you all the kinds of professional support. It's a great university for it. I for one did not choose to do an entertainment law specialization. I was doing international commercial arbitration. So for personally for me it was a very small batch of strength of students, and it was just 10 students compared to the complete batch of 200 students for the LLMs, which majorly most of them chose IPR only, entertainment. And but UCLA offers best the flagship is the entertainment, then there's commercial arbitration, then there's international public law, there's business law, and then there is the general LLM.
Right.
So I think these four
Apart
broadly.
from having interest in whatever specialization you chose, what is some other reason that you can say why you chose this specific LLM as opposed to a general LLM? Because shouldn't it be a very holistic approach and shouldn't it be convenient to apply
Mhm.
for a general LLM?
So the thing is, even through a specialized LLM, you're still doing that general LLM study. And vice versa also, I could say, because when you choose an LLM, they give you all the subjects and it's all up to you what you want to choose. As, so for the specialization, you can even do two specializations together. It's just upon the subjects that you're wanting to do.
Hmm.
So it's about how you curate it for yourself, and then if you've curated it in a manner, the subjects that you've chosen, that oh, I've chosen these specific set of subjects, now these are leading me towards a specialization in business law, let's say. So it can happen like that. For a general LLM also, I wouldn't say that the general LLM is just that you're being taught only the broad subjects. You can still be studying the specialization subjects. It's only because you did not choose as many number of credits that you were not able to fulfill the specialization criteria. But you were still able to study those subjects. So I feel that is a very good thing, because through that, you're not limiting yourself via credits to one thing, but you're also getting an understanding of, like, let's say different subjects from different specializations. And maybe if that's the way you want to go, it's good. uh, at least you have that option to do that. I would say, like, maybe one class is studying for tax, the other class is studying for, let's say, business relations, the other is for trade law, other is for commercial arbitration. So it just becomes like, very um, like it's completely holistic. So the general specialization thing, it's kind of just like it gets blurred into the same thing. So that's what I would say.
How did the class size impact the classroom experience and the student faculty interactions?
So I feel the student faculty interaction in a Western university is always very robust, and like it's always very verbose. Like you get interacted on almost every three lines that the professor speaks. And so, in terms of the LLM bar strength in my university, if I was doing, like, let's say, I was doing a normal, common LLM subject, like, let's say, evidence law or constitutional law, the class strength would have been around, let's say, 40 to 45 students, 50 students. But let's say if I was doing like my on the course that I chose, I was doing a commercial arbitration simulation class where basically throughout the entire semester, we were made to be part of two teams, for one for the respondent, one for the petitioner, and we were all having like a full arbitration. So that was very interesting because I got to, like, because the that batch strength was only 12 students, and that was only three LLMs and the other nine were JD students. So that was a very interesting class, one of the best classes I've ever experienced, because it was throughout that we had to draft a whole application. a whole basically a whole our SOC, our SOD, and then you also had to go and do your cross examination and do your give your opening sentence, give your closing sentence, basically conducted in a proper trial manner, and in the from the perspective of US based arbitration. So that was a very interesting class. And even despite that, I feel even in the general classes, the conversations were always used to be very interesting because you would get perspectives from even different countries. Like let's say, like in some of the classes, when once my professor had held, like basically we had to select one law from the US, and we had to select one law from the one similar law from our own country, and then we had to speak on it and give like a presentation for like 10 to 15 minutes. So that was a very interesting class because we got to get perspectives from very various countries, and then got to, of course, the comparative analysis was with the US, but you could also apply for your own countries, like, comparative law. So I feel it's always very interesting, and you get a lot of different perspectives from everywhere across the world. So I feel like, yeah, it's a very big uh, value adder.
What clinical experiences or practical legal training did you undertake during your LLM and how did it contribute to your growth?
So I was attached with the public defender's office for the last 2 months of my stay in LA after I'd completed my LLM. And that was a very unique experience because every day I was getting to experience the US legal code, the state courts over there, and see how the trial takes, how they are making the attorneys over there are making their opening statements, how they're selecting the jury, and what basis and factors they are selecting a jury on, and how the arguments are being conducted, how the judges holding their court. It was always a very it was that like those 2 months of mine were a very interesting. Also how I got to, like, meet with different kinds of clients from basically not the most sound financial backgrounds. That's why they were choosing to go to the public defender, and how dedicated the public defenders were towards ensuring that these marginalized people get the justice that they require. So and the amount of hours that they also put in just to do that, it was always was very inspiring, and also very eye-opening, like how like in the sense of how our country also sometimes really require this kind of passion towards defending people who are not able to defend themselves. So it was very quite a great experience, I would say.
Another question, does UCLA offer any placement assistance or is it career fairs? Is it career fairs?
It definitely does. It definitely does. So you get your always, they are always trying to get you to as many places as possible. So that, but that's one very good thing about these universities is they will always try their best to get you put at a good place. And yes, UCLA provided us a lot of sources. The only thing I would say is for anyone, and this is one question that I get a lot for anyone trying to get to, like, work outside. I would definitely recommend them to first gain a lot of experience over here in India, at least a minimum 3 year experience. Because over there you're going there competing with JD students who are the people like if I've
Mm,
done a BLLB, like similar manner.
mm,
They are the people who have actually done their thing over there, and then you're coming as an international attorney,
mm.
studying a degree which is only 1 year old, 1 year degree, and then you're asking their employers to select you. Why should they select you? What is it? What are you bringing to the table that is differentiating you and making them choose you instead of them?
Right.
So I would definitely recommend to people who actually want to get a job outside to first make themselves something really good in the practice area where they want to choose and practice outside, because it's always very nice to say that, oh, I want to go practice outside, but you also need it's very different when you reach over there, and the kind of it's always good to have a background towards that thing too, so that you may get it instantly. I'm not saying that in the future becomes a problem. It still is good because you have that foreign international degree which will help you get it in the future. But if your plan is to convert that LLM into a job right at that moment, it's always better to have a backing of professional backing, basically.
Hmm.
Because the university always provides you these platforms. It's up to you how you make use of these resources. I don't feel that the university was lacking in anywhere in providing us the resources. It was all up to you how you are making use of them.
Hmm. Scholarships and financial aid are very crucial for some students. So, can you discuss about any scholarship you received or any financial aid opportunities that students can benefit during their LLM?
So for US law schools, there's always when even through LSAC when you're applying, it always shows whether you require a scholarship or any kind of financial aid. And then when you select yes, they either take you to the university's scholarship portal where you can see all the scholarships that might be present available for you and gives you the deadlines and what all by when you can apply and what all you have to explain in those applications. And yeah, basically through LSAC, LSAC is a very good platform for at least the US law schools. It literally helps you get everything. So for me, for UCLA, also same thing happened. I clicked yes on the financial aid support thing, and then they asked me to re give them in a paper explaining why I need a financial aid and why should I be awarded one. So I had to give in my statement within 500 words, and of course, these are very coveted things. Getting a scholarship's not the most easiest thing to receive. So you also need to find your time, like I said, in the application process only. The scholarship also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it that time. Scholarship application also is completely different from your SOD and your LOR. It is completely something different. So that also is something you need to explain in a very good manner. So that's why I always suggest to people to if the application processes are starting in August and they're going until December, do not wait till October or November to start. You should start from August itself, start from day one itself. So by the time you're actually going to submit your application, you're fully satisfied that you have done it to the best of your ability and you haven't rushed it or anything. Like there's no excuse for you. So basically,
Hmm.
that thing.
Hmm. So, based on your journey and experiences, what advice would you offer to current aspirants?
So my first and foremost advice would be this to anyone wanting to convert their LM into a job. Take some time, give yourself some time back home where you can work professionally. Give yourself some space, build a name for yourself, build a in that specific field, build your CV towards that goal because this is a big goal. Finding a job in the US is a big goal considering how is there are not just the factors, not just the there are so many other factors as well. There's a factor of the visa, there's factor of this your competition with the JE students. So an employer over there, they have to fund your visa basically. So and that is also not a small amount. I mean, for them it is a small amount only, but for them to choose to invoke that option of paying that, you have to show them what you are bringing to the table. It's always very important. It's very transactional over there. You have to bring in something on the table. You're going to be selected, and something which that other person might not be able to, which is that JD student. So it's very important for you to definitely first gain some practical knowledge and then go and apply that practical knowledge into getting a professional job outside. That would be my first advice. My second advice would be, like I said, it's always a very personal journey. Whenever you feel you are comfortable to do it, you must do it. Should do it. And I would always suggest to anyone getting an LLM is always a very good idea because it is from not only from an educational perspective, it's like it gives you a very good overall development. You get to experience a lot of other things as well. The kind of relationships that you build, the kind of connectivity it gets you with other people across. Like even like I have many JD friends over there, and it's a very nice experience because it's always like it's just you never know. In our legal career, relationships and networking is one of the most important things, and an LLM helps you in expanding that and also making you maybe more comfortable in doing that. I would also say that. So that's why I definitely would always recommend anyone to do an LLM if they have the financial backing for it and if they're getting that thing. Because also I've also acknowledged the fact that it's very much of a privilege to do it as well. from outside. But and I would also say yes. So it's a very personal thing. Do it at the time you feel it's right for you. Many people feel that, oh, once I've already begun my practice, I'm 3, 4 years down the lane, I shouldn't pause it and go outside. It's always a very personal choice. So do it whenever you're comfortable and whenever you feel you're ready for it. And whenever, even for many people, they do it to take a break from their, hectic professional lives. I would say do it because, yes, as lawyers, we always have to work almost around the clock 24/7. So it does give you a bit of a relaxation to from that. So I think that should be more than enough for people to know,
Right.
uh,
Yes, I
basically.
believe we have covered all we needed to know about masters from UCLA.
I hope so. I hope so. Because I get these questions almost every day, and it just becomes very difficult answering everyone one by one.
Right.
Although I try my best to, but we're always very engaged with our work as well. And it's just so I'm very glad that VLC took this initiative of helping students out with this. And I'm really glad that been able of any form of assistance through this.
Right. Thank you so very much for being here and sharing your experience. I'm very positive this video will be of utmost help to everybody watching it.
Thank you, Niharika.
On
Thank you.
behalf of ILCC, I wish you the very best for your journey ahead. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.